Hello everybody, this is Apparition StarCraft coming at you with a replay, and with me tonight is the J Money. How are you today?
Hello! I am J Money Gaming, and I am here to support this guy, Mr. Apparition StarCraft, because he is really awesome.
Yes, and we have this PBZ on Belshire Vestige with none other than the Blue Zerg, Mr. Liquid TLO.
And in the bottom right hand corner of a map, we have the Master Race, the Brotas. His name is HasuObs. HasuObs.
Yes,
I'm
HasuObs.
I'm just butchering names left and right, but that's fine because he is a Brotas, not a Protoss, but a Brotas, and that's my favorite kind.
Well, a bro will normally understand. I mean, I think he'll be all right. He's not gonna come over to you and slap you around for mispronouncing his name, but
As long as it's not a DT that slaps me, because that might hurt.
well, zealots they don't use their hands for much either. They just have the side blades on there.
I have a feeling that would just cut my head off. DT would make it slow and painful.
Well, I mean, when he has a scythe, he can just like wacha, and then when he has a side blade, the other ones have this. There's no difference. They just hurt more.
I make you think, though. I make you think. But enough of that because, well, I'm confusing myself. We have TLO in the game, and he is my favorite Zerg
Yes.
player, and he's actually throwing down his pool before hatchery, which is always nice because it just adds a little bit more of defense.
Yes, it adds a little bit more defense, and then for the Protoss player, it makes him less likely to go straight for a Nexus first. As you see, he's throwing down the Forge, and now this, as long as he gets this probe out of here in a relatively quick manner, this means that his expansion will come out faster than what it really, or faster than what the Protoss Nexus can come out with, for lack of terms. So as we see that, there it goes, and now the Nexus started as well. Not a big difference, but one. A little difference is better than nothing.
Absolutely, and now we do have the Lings on the way. That is going to force that probe to be on his way because he does not want to become lunch to 4 Zerglings.
I mean, there's worse things in the world that could happen.
What is worse than getting eaten alive, have your flesh ripped off of you by a Zergling?
What if you were just cut into a lot of pieces by an Ultralisk?
An
Or what
ult-
if you were mind controlled and had to kill your own friends and then were blown up by your own Protoss units?
I'd rather have that happen than be eaten alive to Zerglings. Those little guys are small and they'll just nibble. They'll nibble and nibble and nibble, and it will be painful, painful, painful. I think I just came out with my new
But they only
hit
nibble
song.
like 8 times.
Yes, but getting little chunks every now and again. But I don't even know what we are talking about anymore. We do have the photon cannon up to protect his base. Gateway is on the way, and the Nexus is just about to finish up.
Yeah, and while he is going for that forward fast span and the Overlord saw this, he immediately throws down that third hatch, which is always nice to see. TLO getting that base lead and will have the production lead that follows that, and it is always a nice place to be for the Zerg when that happens.
Yeah, I've actually been casting quite a bit of TLO on my channel as of late, and his play against Protoss is just on point. He just takes them down so quickly, and it's little picks here, little hits there, and it does seem like this version of the replay has quite a few little lag spikes here and there. So that's a thing.
Yeah, I've noticed that too, sadly, but hopefully that is fixed. Either way, Cybercore finishing up, and we will have to see a lot of Protosses will go for some kind of all-in, just because it's really powerful and kind of hard to lose with in some scenarios. Other than that, we do see a Stargate coming down, something that could lead to Phoenix play, or just straight out Sky Toss, which I know you are a bit of a fan of.
I'm a huge fan of Sky Toss in this matchup, just for the sheer fact Void Rays against Zerg in Heart of the Swarm is so good. If you pretty much look at their buildings and a majority of their units, they're armored units, and now Void Rays do extra damage, so if you get in the right angle and in the right army composition, they pretty much just destroy everything instantaneously, as long as you use the prismatic alignment.
Yeah, but for the Zerg, he can always attack before a large Void Ray count happens, and I heard Hydralisk are pretty darn good if you use them the correct way. Something that we don't ever see is Burrow play. If you use Burrow Hydralisk, like not so much for surprise attacks, but to micro them, sort of like how you micro Blinkstalkers, I would like to see that at one point or another in some kind of Zerg game. Probably not today, but I like to theory craft here and there.
I could actually see that be very effective, especially if in small numbers, if you have like a handful of oracles going across the map, like 3 of them, and you run into a bunch of hydras. The oracles can easily take them out. So if they did have burrow, they went underground. No, then they never mind. Oracle's a bad example. I retract that statement.
Yeah, let's go with the Void Rays instead and the
Void rays,
Carriers and
carriers, yeah.
Tempest.
I just realized I'm like, wait a second. They're a detection unit now.
About that. Well, it looks like lanes are going to be trying to see what's at the front, and a Phoenix being very annoying, taking out these scouting overlords, and a second one joining him. He's not making any past that though. And well, he does have a third. Actually, can I? Yes, he does have three, but he's not making any more. But the +1 air weapons does show that he wants to go into some form of airplay.
Yep, and quite frankly, that tends to be very effective against the poor old Zerg player if he does not prepare for it. He is going to have to get something to deal with the air toss very, very quickly. And we even have a mothership core trying to take down a hatchery, which in theory should not happen. In theory.
Well, what he's going to do here is he's just going to hit it a bit, and then when he does move in with the Void Rays, if he does go that route, he will be able to take it out that much faster. So it's always nice to have any advantage you can getting that fleet beacon. But for the Zerg player, we do see the layer tech on the way at the natural, and that will probably go into some form of Hydra tech. But I mean, corruptors are a thing; they're just not a very effective thing.
Yep, the Queens have finally arrived to the 4th base, and I was about to say it did push the Mothership Core away. However, the Mothership Core just came right back, and he's still picking. And this Mothership Core actually did quite a bit of damage to this hatchery.
Yeah, it is actually just under or just over half health actually. And now the Phoenix is coming in to kill these queens. They are at the magic number of 4, actually 5 here. If I could just open up the unit counting, here they go. But you do need 4 to kill a queen in 1 liftoff. But he has extra backup.
And you know that airplay from Mr. HasuObs is actually phenomenal right now because he is still hitting and attacking that poor hatchery. That hatchery is a sad panda right now, and now he just cut off a whole bunch of these overlords, and he is just slowly decimating TLO here and there very quickly.
Yeah, and he's really hampering the production of Mr. TLO, but if we look at the left side of the map, these lanes are just everywhere. They were checking for a 3rd base, and if you can keep Protoss on 2 bases when he does this, it is much harder for them to really put on the pressure that they need to. But they are still a threat with now Tempest on the field. He did not make a single Void Ray. He is going straight into the long-range siege that is the Tempest.
I'm not sure how big of a fan I am of that. I mean, he does have a whole bunch of zealots right now. It's pure zealot versus pure ling, and right now these lings in such high numbers is just wreaking havoc on that zealot count, and he cleaned that up quite quickly.
Yeah, these lanes also do have 1/1 upgrades, so that makes them that much more effective. 1 cannon and a couple of sentries not going to be enough to really get these units off the wall. If he can break down any portion of this wall, he will do immense amounts of damage, and that Cyber Core is getting lower and lower.
Yeah, I mean, these Tempests are really not doing that much against the Lings. They attack so slow, he could pretty much just outpower them, and with the Battling Nest done, if he pulls back a little bit, he could bust through that quite easily.
Well, he does have 3 Void Rays on the way, and he does have his ground weapons on the way, but here goes the Cyber Core in just a moment, actually being force fielded off, but not all these buildings can be force fielded. He might actually cancel the upgrade as well, getting in here on the units. Oh, this looks really bad for the Protoss player.
Yeah, he was doing so well also. He was doing so much damage to the Zerg on so many fronts, but then Pure Ling came on in and just wreaked havoc. However, it does look like he is finally starting to clean it up a little bit. The Air Toss army is finally helping out. The Photon Overcharge did its work. The Nexus has 16 kills, and Void Rays have arrived. so he should be okay at least for the time being. The only issue is he doesn't have a cyber core anymore, so no air upgrades will be coming his way.
Yeah, that is a bit of a problem for him. He won't be able to keep on decent upgrades, but Phoenix is moving back into the main. He has a Spire almost done for the Zerd player, and also a Hive is complete. This means that TLO is in a spot to transition into whatever he sees fit. And when he only sees a handful of Void Rays, he has time, he has days, he has a week to really decide what he wants to do.
Yeah, he's probably gonna, I would guess, go into a corruptor count, and as I say it, there they are, to try to deal with this air toss. And I think it might be relatively effective since he doesn't actually have that many void rays. He doesn't have any carriers out, so should be easy peasy for him. And right now he's just running around with those lings trying to get any type of advantage that TLO can, and those Phoenix are just like hovering above him saying, ha 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 ha, you can't hit us. It's kind of silly.
That's probably exactly how they sound too. The second Spire on the way, probably for those armor upgrades. The only reason I don't like Corruptors in this situation is because the Void Rays do that extra damage, and there are 3 coming out at a time. But the problem is that the Protoss player only just now throwing down a third, and that is going to be very hard to secure if the lanes do get in there.
Yeah. So at this point in time, the thing that TLO just needs to do is, quite frankly, keep him on those 2 bases, and just, even if he has to throw away some of these corruptors to deal with the void rays, it should be absolutely fine. Then again, he also has to worry about those Phoenix, because even though they don't do extra damage to those corruptors, these bad boys are extremely quick and extremely nimble.
Yeah, and now he does see the third base, and look at all these pylons and cannons on the way. This is just to wall this off completely on the left side and make it so that the lanes have to run all the way around. Going to be very annoying. I would not want to be one of those Zerd lanes in this army.
Neither would I. Neither would I. I mean, it's only 3 cannons. It's a majority of pylons walling it off. I do wish he maybe threw 1 or 2 more cannons over there just to be a little bit more on the protective side. But it's absolutely fine. We do have another gateway there, a nice big bulky unit. So he should be fine, at least for now. But I'm just curious what TLO is going to do to deal with this Protoss player.
Well, I would like to see him throw down a Hydrogen just as a safety net, not so much as a full transition and actually taking out one of the Phoenixes because of HasuObs being a little bit careless with those. The thing is that he has a decent corruptor count. He is at 16 now and making more, but the Void Ray count is at 9, and those Void Rays can take out more corruptors. Or the Void Ray count does not need to be on the same level as the corruptors for them to be effective, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, just because that prismatic alignment does so much damage. How much does it do? It does, what is it, 6+ damage against armored units? It just eats away at them, and it's, quite frankly, sad for those poor corruptors. Does look like he is going to try to go out for another expansion to the left side of the base. He is pulling his army there to try to clear it up, and he is going to lose a corruptor because of it.
Yeah, but if we look at the right side of the map, Mr. TLO was researching Overlord drops, and now that means that a lot of lanes are going to be in the main base, and even Queen's over here to drop some tumors, it looks like. A lot of units being warped in, but as soon as the Skytoss army comes in with the recall, here it is. Now these corruptors are kind of surrounded, but lanes being everywhere will be very annoying for the Protoss player to stop. But handling it quite well, actually.
Yes, pretty much he just wreaked havoc on everything. And if he catches those overlords just north of his base, that could be a little bit of trouble because there are some units, and there they go. The Phoenixes have arrived, and quite frankly, everything's going to die, presumably.
Yeah, but on the left side of the map, we see flashing lights everywhere, these lanes being as annoying as they possibly can. The Zealots not having the best upgrades, actually they have no upgrades. The lanes are on 2-2, which makes them take the... They can trade pretty effectively with these Zealots, even if they do get in those straight engagements, but their Corruptors against +2 attack Void Rays, not going to be a good engagement.
Yeah, I mean, this is starting to get a little scary for the Zerg player TLO. I am not quite sure what he's going to do, but then again, it does look like he still has things in the main base. He is running back and forth, and oh, there they go. They finally die, those poor lings.
Yeah, and now in this Protoss army, a nice Templar count is on the way. He had a few Archons. I don't know if they were taken out in all and everything that happened. It looks like they were. And he has his +3 attack finishing up for his Void Rays here soon, which will give him an immense amount of damage against these Corruptors. I really, really want to see some Hydralisk. I think they are much more effective against this.
Yeah, in the units lost tab, it's pretty much telling a story. Our Protoss player has lost 9,000 resources, now 10. TLO has just dropped down to 16, 9. Well, it's just rising quicker than I can say it. So I will change that away. So TLO is pretty much taking a lot of very poor engagements, but then again, he is on more bases, so he does have a bit more of an income to spare.
Well, the thing with SkyToss is that it is very hard to trade against, but once you get a one good fight against it, or you diminish the count of Void Rays, then you've pretty much won the game, because it's really hard to remats on those, and the Zerg can remats on anything much faster than the Protoss can.
And it does look at TLO. He is going straight for the pylons of the Stargates, but he is quickly pushed away by a handful of Zealots and 2 Archons.
I like seeing how much blue there is on the map, because he doesn't have the best creep spread. His 5th base has no creep going over to it, so it would be very hard to get units over there if need be. But in general, he has units on both sides of the map. There's no way Protoss can get a 4th base, that's for sure. And even then, these Overlord drops, which he is continuing, are just being very, very annoying for the Protoss player to deal with.
Yeah, and it does seem like he is actually letting the right side of his base just wide open every time. And now we see 2 attacks coming in from the left, a drop coming from the right. It's pretty much World War III with TLO. He is all over the place right now, just wreaking as much damage as he possibly can.
Yes, with those lanes having the better upgrades, they do tear apart the Zealots quite effectively, and now the recall has gone down these lanes trying to get out of there with every shred of hope possible, and now he might actually catch off a lot of Templars. The Storm's going down on the lanes, though, and actually saving them using a lot of energy, though.
Yes, he did throw down a couple force fields. That was a great little wall off to protect him. He needs to keep them alive because he does not want to be wasting gas on those units. He wants to save it just in case his poor air toss does get destroyed, so he could bring them back as quickly as possible.
Yeah, the Storm definitely does help against the Corruptors in these engagements. You just have to make sure you position everything correctly and don't waste your energy like he didn't waste it there because he did save his units, but if there's an engagement soon, that's a lot of Storms that won't be there for the Protoss player, but he is going to secure a 4th base quite easily now that he has stopped these attacks, and it's all going to be up to what the Zerg player can do at this point.
Yes, it seems like he is going for his 4th. The Zerg player has units over there to try to prevent it, but the Protoss is there too, ready to defend. And will he be able to stall and delay it? Yes, he does.
Yes, he did get a nice lane surround, and while they are not the most powerful units, they do have a nice bit of a... They can do a lot of damage when they get a full surround like that. And with these nice upgrades coming out, now getting the +3 there, but look at this, the Zerg 5th base is gone in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's how good the Airtoss army is. Everything goes down so quickly. The DPS is just insane.
Yeah, and now these lanes trying to get into the 3rd base of the Protoss. Looks like they might actually focus this down. A couple of Banelings in here as well. I don't know where they came from, but they are going to try to roll into the probes. The 3rd base actually being taken out completely.
Yeah, right now it was a trade, a base for a base, and right now I'm a little scared for our Protoss player. TLO is just being so aggressive right now, and he's actually taking advantage of the immobility of the air toss. It's so slow, so what does he do? He just starts attacking every which front, and it's just pretty much taking our Protoss off guard.
Yeah, and actually the TLO is taking a 5th base on the Protoss' side of the map. He knows he can do this, and the Protoss player probably isn't going to be expecting that right now. A few Infestors being thrown into this army, and if they get nice fundals on the Void Rays, they can do a lot of extra damage.
Yeah, we do see he's trying to regain the 3rd, I believe. No, the 4th. I did not actually see the 4th go down there. So he is still trying to rebuild it. He is trying to get that base up and running. So he is essentially only long-range mining, and that's the only mining he is going right now. That is quite insane for a Protoss player.
Yeah, lanes in the main again, but they do get cleaned up. There is one Zealot on the left side of the map who is killing an Extractor. He is trying so hard, and one day soon, his His day will come, but now lane's getting into the natural again. It looks like they will be cleaned up because they were on the move command.
Yeah, this is officially the hero cannon of the game. It has 39 kills. I've never seen a cannon with so many kills in my life, so I am going to call that the hero cannon.
Well, it looks like on the right side of the map where that hero cannon is not at, we will have infestors dropping down a lot of infested Terran. The cannon will go down, and this is where all the production is. If these stargates get taken down, that will be a very big problem for our Protoss player.
Yeah, and as we see, a whole bunch more lings are going away. He's literally just taking advantage of this poor Protoss army. I'm a little sad, but TLO is one of my favorite Zergs, so I am okay with it. He is finally getting a bunch of mutas on the way. He finally found out, hey, what can take out these poor Void Rays? Ah, mutas, of course. And we do have a message from someone, so let me actually put myself on busy really quickly, just for a second.
Alright, well, in this game, we do see a couple of funnel growths going down. The Corruptor's all being stormed, though. He's not microing out of those very effectively, but a lot of infestors following this up with. If they get nice funnel growths, they can do a lot of damage. And even infested Terrans going down, but they are not being burrowed or anything. And now these infestors are kind of just being left for dead. The Corruptor count being diminished, but if we look at the Void Ray count, it is also dropping. Only 2 Void Rays and 2 Tempest in the air. Other than that, Zealot Archon on the ground. And I don't think Mutalisk can engage on Archons very effectively.
No, if they go try to even take on an Archon, they will just melt immediately. They do 35 damage to them, and it will just be a sad day for the Mutas.
Yeah, and we just saw a lot of infestors being taken out for free because of the rally point, and now over here, Archons being made, and TLO has to GG out because he knows he cannot break this.
Yeah, what an amazing game. TLO was insane. He was all over the place. He was insane and just intense.
Yeah, he had a lot of nice harass. You don't usually see those Zergling drops. I don't think they panned out in his favor overall, but they were still annoying, and he was able to get or cancel the fourth multiple times, but it just wasn't enough because of how he engaged that and how he lost all those infestors for free. If he just had Burrow, I think Burrow could have saved him this game just at the end, though, because he lost well over 1,000 gas just on the right side of the map in a matter of seconds.
I also feel like if he would have went mutas too, after he cleaned out this Phoenix initially, if he would have went heavy muta, that would have dealt with the Void Arrays quite easily.
There was also, I mean, he went for Storm, but if he just if TLO went with Hydras early, he might have had a chance before a nice Storm count or a nice Templar count was reached.
He had a couple different options.
Yeah, but either way, this was a dual cast with myself and Mr. J Money Gaming. So I do want to thank you for watching. Do you have anything to say before we close this out?
Feel free to check me out on my channel at youtube.com/jmoneygaming. Take care, guys. Spike your hair, and thank you.
All right. Thanks for watching and have a good time.